Welcome to this short preview from windowsontheworld.net, just to let you know about two shows in the archive which are extremely important if you haven't seen them: Opposing Human Settlement Zones and the follow-up UK Council's Totalitarian Endgame. Now, we have covered so much of this material that I'm not going to get into it in this trailer, but please look at those shows and do subscribe to us on Odyssey and, of course, Spreaker. We do not post anything of importance on YouTube anymore. And tonight's show is quite an important one. It's a consolidation and a look at Cop Out 27 and how the con is being enforced more rapidly because their window of opportunity is closing. They can't keep this scam going forever. We have covered it over the years and exposed what is behind the fake environmental agenda. And there are, of course, the real and the stated goals in this show, which is up at windowsontheworld.net as we speak. You can find out links and a follow-on from those two very important shows. And of course, in the Protocols of World Revolution, written well over 100 years ago, it clearly stated our motto is power and hypocrisy. The world is now infiltrated by, as they say, their million-eyed international agency. Merely a global governance system which the public have been taught is a conspiracy theory by those who enforce it. This is a global governance system also operated under the guise of sustainable development in all countries, forcing them to mitigate and adapt to a lie through what is just economic terrorism, debt creation, land acquisition and control of all property and material assets, including the management and massive reduction of population. How many times does this have to be said? Well, is it going to be like COVID and fall apart? They could call a climate crisis amnesty, but the evidence against them is overwhelming. The biggest and most consistently used scam of the century. And of course, there have been a few, haven't there? The biggest con in world history has its conference, COP27, now, where these trained dupes of the global management system will attend. We're going to be reporting a little bit on that, but not too much, because all they're doing now is trying to close the door. And we are at a very serious stage with it. People are going to be locked down into smart gulags with no transport. People said this would never happen. I was saying it was going to happen 15 years ago. I know I do sort of reiterate this, but the reason for that is because all of this is in the archive, including all the talks I've given, and all the evidence is in our series Protocols of Power as to how this is actually enforced. The global governance system of United Nations, Sustainable Development and Agenda 2030 is, of course, public knowledge to all now. But there are still those who think that the zoning of their own town is a conspiracy theory, even when it's in their local newspaper. So, yes, there are several other things that you could have a look at in the archive, which are very useful as well. Take a look at The Man Who Saw the Future at windowsontheworld.net. Also, have a look at The Order of New Barbarians. These shows give you the evidence of how the steering into the current agenda was achieved. And of course, remember the Protocols of Power series. So their own agents have stated that the climate change scam is nothing to do with the climate many, many times. We have quoted these people. And of course, anybody who quotes them in the scientific community or takes apart the absolute BS narrative is disappeared. Yet their promoted agents of change spout lies as if they were true and virtue signal to the world about how much ruin and misery they want to create through the biggest lie of the century, the climate crisis. We're going to get into that tonight, but mainly these shows are just about solutions. I do not do anything regarding infotainment or even entertainment, even though some distractions can be useful. So do check the shows out, windowsontheworld.net. We are the most marginalized show on the internet. I do appreciate all the information that comes through because it backs up everything we're saying. In other words, this is a template which is being used everywhere. It's very, very simple, but most people prefer distraction, which is why these shows are not listened to as much as they should be, because the information within these shows is basically all you need to know. So leaving it at that, please take a look at the website, windowsontheworld.net. Also on our Odyssey channel, I have uploaded the interview I did with Richie Allen about the Heretics of London, the Smithfield Martyrs, which is a full-length feature film which you can download at windowsontheworld.net and gives a remarkable insight from the 16th century into what is happening today. Yes, we have the Online Harms Bill coming in now, but then they had the Act of 6 Articles, which was formally titled An Act Abolishing Diversity in Opinions. They would love to get away with that one, and in a way they have. Their million-eyed agency has trained millions of agents. Yes, anybody who's been through the gulag system of school and college, university, is now an indoctrinated tool of this new system. So be the change you want to see. We have all the answers, and this week I will be putting out a very short video which gives absolute proof that there is no consultation in these implementations of low traffic neighborhoods and the zoning off and closing down of cities. This is actually admitted. We have all of the evidence, and you can use that against your local council, because you will find out in your area there has been no consultation. That doesn't mean there can't be one. It means that you have to organize it. So hope that was useful. And yes, do check out the archive on the website. Thanks a lot, everybody who contributes, and you can join in the conversation on our Discord group.